In New Hampshire, every mountain peak has a mystery. From ancient curses to restless spirits, we're bringing 12 chilling legends back to life. Number 1. The Wood Devils of Coos County. Deep in the northern wilderness of Coos County, where the forests grow thick and the silence runs deep, there roam creatures that don't appear in any wildlife guide. The Wood Devils. These tall, impossibly thin beings stand 8 to 9 feet high, covered in dark fur, with long arms that reach almost to the ground. But unlike their Bigfoot cousins, these creatures are different. They're aggressive, territorial, and seem to hate human presence. Local hunters and loggers have whispered about them for generations. They describe creatures that move through the trees with unnatural grace, watching from the shadows with glowing eyes. Some say they throw rocks and branches at intruders. Others claim they've heard their bone-chilling screams echoing through the forest at night, a sound that makes even the bravest outdoorsmen pack up and head home. The Wood Devils don't just hide, they hunt. Several hunters have reported being stalked for miles, feeling eyes on them the entire time. Equipment goes missing from campsites. Strange footprints appear overnight, too long and narrow to belong to any known animal. And those who venture too deep into their territory often return with stories of being chased by shadows that move faster than anything should. Even today, locals avoid certain parts of Coos County after dark. The Wood Devils remain one of New Hampshire's most feared legends, lurking somewhere between myth and terrifying reality. Number 2. The Oceanborn Mary ghost. In 1720, a ship carrying Irish immigrants was attacked by pirates off the New Hampshire coast. Among the passengers was a pregnant woman who gave birth during the chaos. The pirate captain, moved by the sight of the newborn, spared the ship on one condition: the child must be named Mary after his mother. Oceanborn. Mary lived a long life, but her story didn't end with death. The house where Mary spent her final years in Henniker still stands, and many believe she never truly left. Visitors report seeing a tall woman in colonial dress walking through the rooms, especially near the staircase. The scent of roses fills the air when no flowers are present. Doors open and close on their own, and footsteps echo through empty hallways. Mary appears most often to women, sometimes warning them of danger or simply acknowledging their presence with a gentle nod. Some say she's still protecting others, just as the pirate captain once protected her. Tour guides speak in hushed tones of cold spots that move through rooms and the feeling of being watched by kind but sorrowful eyes. Whether she's guarding treasures the pirates left behind or simply watching over her beloved home, Oceanborn Mary remains one of New Hampshire's most enduring spirits. A reminder that some bonds are too strong for death to break. Number 3. The Haunted Isles of Shoals. 10 miles off the New Hampshire coast, a cluster of rocky islands holds centuries of secrets. The Isles of Shoals were once a haven for pirates, fishermen, and smugglers. But with that lawless past came violence, shipwrecks, and death, and the spirits of those who perished have never left. Star Island, the largest of the group, is said to be home to countless ghosts. Visitors report seeing figures in old-fashioned clothing walking the rocky shores, only to vanish when approached. The sound of phantom ships can be heard on foggy nights, their crews calling out warnings that echo across the water. Appledore Island tells an even darker tale. Pirates once buried their treasures here, and legend says they killed their companions to keep the location secret. The murdered men still roam the island, forever seeking revenge. Strange lights dance between the rocks after sunset, and boats passing too close report their compasses spinning wildly. Hotel guests on Star Island have awakened to find wet footprints leading through their rooms, left by sailors who drowned centuries ago. Cold hands touch the living in the night, and whispered conversations in long-dead languages drift through the halls. The Isles of Shoals remain beautiful but haunting, where the line between the living and the dead grows thin with each passing tide. Number 4. The Devil's Den of New Durham. In the quiet woods of New Durham lies a cave that locals have feared for generations. They call it the Devil's Den, and those brave enough to enter often leave changed forever. The cave stretches deep into the earth, its passages twisting in ways that seem to defy natural formation. Strange things happen to those who venture too far inside. Compasses stop working. Flashlights dim without reason. Some explorers report hearing voices calling their names from deep within the cave, voices that sound exactly like loved ones, but lead only deeper into darkness. Local legends say the cave was once used for dark rituals by early settlers who had turned away from God. Others believe it's a natural gateway to something far worse. Animals refuse to go near the entrance. Even on the hottest summer days, a chill wind flows from the cave mouth, carrying scents of sulfur and decay. Those who have spent the night near the Devil's Den tell of seeing red eyes glowing from the depths and hearing scratching sounds, as if something with claws is trying to dig its way out. Some visitors leave offerings at the entrance, hoping to appease whatever dwells within. Whether it's cursed ground, a natural phenomenon, or something truly evil, the Devil's Den remains one of New Hampshire's most unsettling mysteries. A place where even the bravest souls think twice before entering. Number 5. The Ghost Bride of Mount Washington, on the highest peak in New Hampshire, where the wind never stops and the weather can turn deadly in minutes. Climbers sometimes encounter a figure that shouldn't exist. The Ghost Bride of Mount Washington appears as a young woman in a tattered wedding dress, her face pale as snow, standing impossibly still against the howling wind. The legend began in the 1800s, when a bride-to-be insisted on climbing the mountain on her wedding day, despite dangerous weather warnings. She wanted to see the sunrise from the summit before taking her vows. Her wedding party tried to stop her, but she climbed alone into a sudden blizzard and was never seen alive again. Now, hikers report seeing her near the summit, especially during dangerous weather. She appears as a warning, her presence urging climbers to turn back before it's too late. Some say she saved their lives by appearing just before sudden storms struck. Others describe feeling an invisible hand pulling them back from dangerous ledges. The Ghost Bride never speaks, but her message is clear. She points down the mountain, her eyes filled with sadness and urgency. Those who heed her warning often discover later that they narrowly avoided avalanches, sudden weather changes, or equipment failures that could have been fatal. On Mount Washington, where nature shows no mercy, the Ghost Bride continues her eternal vigil, ensuring that others don't share her tragic fate. Number 6. The Mystery Stone of Lake Winnipesaukee. In 1872, workers digging a foundation near Lake Winnipesaukee made a discovery that still puzzles experts today. Deep in the earth, they found a dark stone egg, perfectly carved with mysterious symbols and designs. The Mystery Stone, as it came to be known, defies explanation and seems to hold secrets older than recorded history. The stone is covered with intricate carvings, human figures, animals, celestial symbols, and markings that don't match any known ancient language. Some symbols appear to show corn and other crops, suggesting agricultural knowledge. Others seem to depict ceremonies or rituals that predate any known Native American culture in the region. What makes the stone even stranger is its perfect preservation and the precision of its carving. The symbols were cut with tools that shouldn't have existed when the stone was buried. Carbon dating has been inconclusive, and scholars remain divided on its origin and meaning. Some believe the stone was created by an advanced ancient civilization that once thrived around Lake Winnipesaukee. Others think it might be connected to Viking explorers or even earlier visitors to New England. A few researchers suggest the symbols contain astronomical information or serve as a kind of prehistoric calendar. Local legends speak of strange dreams that occur to those who spend too much time studying the stone. Visitors to the museum where it's displayed report feeling drawn to it, as if it's calling to them across the centuries. The Mystery Stone remains one of New Hampshire's greatest enigmas, a tangible link to a forgotten past that continues to guard its secrets. Number 7. The Smuttynose Island Murders. On a cold March night in 1873, Smuttynose Island became the scene of one of New Hampshire's most brutal crimes. 2 Norwegian women were murdered with an axe while their husbands were away fishing. The killer was never definitively identified, but the violence left a stain on the island that has never been washed clean. The murder shocked New England and became the inspiration for countless stories and songs. But for those who visit Smuttynose Island today, the real horror isn't in the history books. It's in what still haunts the rocky shores. Visitors report hearing screams carried on the ocean wind, especially on nights when the fog rolls in thick. The foundation of the murdered women's home still stands, and many have seen figures moving through the ruins, as if still trying to escape their fate. Cold spots appear suddenly, even on warm days, and the temperature can drop 20 degrees in seconds. Fishermen anchoring near the island tell of their boats rocking violently in calm waters, as if something beneath the surface is trying to get their attention. Some have reported seeing women in old-fashioned nightgowns standing on the rocks, gesturing desperately before vanishing into the mist. The island's few buildings are said to be active with paranormal energy. Tools move on their own. Doors slam shut. And late at night, the sound of an axe striking wood echoes across the water, a ghostly recreation of that terrible March evening. Smuttynose Island stands as a reminder that some crimes leave wounds that never heal, and some spirits can never find peace. Number 8. The Goat Lady of Durham. In the college town of Durham, students and locals have whispered for decades about a mysterious figure known only as the Goat Lady. She appears along back roads and wooded paths, always at dusk, always alone. Some say she's a hermit who lost her mind. Others believe she's something far more sinister, a witch who can take the form of both woman and beast. The Goat Lady is described as an elderly woman with wild gray hair, dressed in tattered clothes, and walking with an unnatural gait. But it's her eyes that people remember most, bright yellow, like an animal's, reflecting light in the darkness. She's often accompanied by the sound of hooves, though no goats are ever seen. Students brave enough to venture into the woods at night sometimes catch glimpses of her moving between the trees. She never approaches directly, but follows at a distance, just visible enough to be seen. Some report finding strange symbols carved into tree bark after these encounters. Others discover animal bones arranged in unusual patterns along the paths she's traveled. Local legends suggest the Goat Lady once lived on a farm where something terrible happened. A fire, a family tragedy, or perhaps a ritual gone wrong. Some believe she made a pact with dark forces that transformed her into something between human and animal. Whether she's protecting the woods or haunting them, the Goat Lady remains one of Durham's most enduring mysteries. A reminder that in New Hampshire's deep forests, not everything that walks on 2 legs is entirely human. Number 9. The Devil Monkey of Danville. In the rural town of Danville, residents have reported encounters with a creature that defies all logic. The Devil Monkey, as locals have named it, is described as a large, aggressive, primate-like beast with glowing red eyes, sharp claws, and a temperament that makes it extremely dangerous to encounter. Unlike typical Bigfoot sightings, the devil monkey is smaller but far more vicious. Witnesses describe a creature about 4 feet tall but incredibly muscular, with long arms and powerful legs that allow it to leap tremendous distances. Its face is said to be a nightmare mixture of ape and demon, with fangs that gleam white in the moonlight. The first reported sightings began in the 1990s, when farmers found their livestock attacked by something with claws and incredible strength. Unlike typical predator kills, these animals were found drained of blood, their bodies arranged in strange patterns. Security cameras captured blurry images of something moving too fast to identify clearly. People walking their dogs at night report their pets becoming terrified for no apparent reason, pulling desperately to get away from areas where the devil monkey has been seen. Some witnesses claim the creature makes sounds unlike any known animal, a mixture of howling, screaming, and what sounds almost like laughter. Several residents have reported seeing the devil monkey crouched on rooftops or power lines, watching houses with an intelligence that's deeply unsettling. It seems to study human behavior, learning patterns and routines before disappearing back into the woods. Whether it's an unknown species, an escaped exotic animal, or something far stranger, the devil monkey of Danville remains one of New Hampshire's most frightening modern mysteries. Number 10. The Ghosts of Pine Hill Cemetery. In the heart of New Hampshire lies Pine Hill Cemetery, where weathered headstones mark graves from centuries past. But this isn't just a resting place for the dead. It's become a gathering spot for spirits who refuse to rest peacefully. Visitors to Pine Hill Cemetery report seeing shadowy figures moving between the headstones, especially during the hour just before dawn. These aren't clear apparitions, but dark shapes that seem to absorb light, making the already dim cemetery even darker. They move with purpose, as if still tending to unfinished business from their earthly lives. The most active area is the older section, where graves from the 1700s and 1800s cluster beneath ancient oak trees. Here, people have photographed strange mists that form human-like shapes and orbs of light that float just above certain graves. Electronic devices malfunction regularly, with cameras shutting off and cell phones losing signal despite being in a covered area. Local historians believe the unusual activity stems from several tragic deaths in the area's early years, a plague that killed entire families, a mill accident that claimed dozens of workers, and a fire that consumed a schoolhouse full of children. The spirits of these victims are said to still wander the cemetery, perhaps confused about their fate or unwilling to accept their deaths. Groundskeepers have reported tools moving on their own, and the sounds of children playing among the graves when no living children are present. Some visitors leave flowers on certain graves, only to find them rearranged in perfect patterns the next morning. Pine Hill Cemetery remains a place where the boundary between worlds grows thin, and the past refuses to stay buried. Number 11. The Witch of Hampton. In 1680, Eunice Cole became the first and only person executed for witchcraft in New Hampshire. Her story began with accusations from her neighbors in Hampton, who blamed her for everything from failed crops to mysterious illnesses. But Eunice Cole's tale didn't end with her death. Many believe it was just the beginning. The accusations against Eunice painted her as a woman who consorted with the devil, caused cattle to sicken, and cursed those who crossed her. She was described as having an evil eye and the ability to appear in multiple places at once. When she was finally executed, the townspeople thought their troubles were over. They were wrong. Almost immediately after her death, strange things began happening in Hampton. Crops failed in ways they never had before. Animals were found dead with no apparent cause. Children reported seeing an old woman watching them from the windows of abandoned houses. The most disturbing reports came from the area around Eunice's former home. Visitors claimed to see an elderly woman in dark clothing standing in the doorway, her eyes filled with anger and resentment. She would point at them with a gnarled finger before vanishing into thin air. Even today, Residents of Hampton report unusual occurrences that they attribute to Eunice Cole's restless spirit. Gardens wither overnight. Pets refuse to walk down certain streets. Some claim to hear an old woman's voice on windy nights, muttering curses in a language that sounds like English but makes no sense. Whether she was truly a witch or simply a victim of hysteria and fear, Eunice Cole's spirit continues to haunt Hampton, reminding visitors that some injustices echo through the centuries. Number 12, the crying child of Portsmouth Harbor. Among the many legends that haunt New Hampshire's seacoast, none is more heartbreaking than the story of the crying child of Portsmouth Harbor. For over a century, fishermen, sailors, and harbor workers have reported hearing the sound of a child sobbing, carried on the ocean wind during foggy nights. The legend began in the early 1800s, when a young boy fell from a fishing vessel during a sudden storm. Despite frantic efforts to rescue him, the child was swept away by the powerful currents, and his body was never recovered. His parents waited at the harbor for months, hoping against hope that he would somehow return. Now, whenever thick fog rolls into Portsmouth Harbor, the sound begins. It starts as a faint whimpering, barely audible above the lapping waves. But as the fog grows denser, the crying becomes more distinct, the unmistakable sound of a child calling for help, calling for home. Harbor pilots and boat captains have learned to listen for the crying as a warning. When they hear it, they know the fog will be particularly dangerous, with visibility dropping to mere feet. Some say the child's spirit is trying to prevent others from sharing his fate, warning sailors to seek safe harbor before it's too late. Coast Guard rescuers have responded to calls about a child in distress, only to find empty waters. Fishermen report their boats being gently pushed away from dangerous rocks during heavy fog, as if invisible hands were guiding them to safety. The most chilling encounters involve those who claim to have seen the child himself, a small figure standing on the harbor's edge, reaching toward the water as if trying to grasp something just beyond his reach. He appears for only moments before fading like morning mist. The crying child of Portsmouth Harbor serves as a gentle but eternal guardian, ensuring that no other family suffers the loss that has kept his spirit tied to these waters for over 2 centuries. If you enjoyed this journey through New Hampshire's darkest legends, please click the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.